Well, hell's bells. Good morning, you buckets. Buckets of love. How you doing? Today is Sunday, the 29th. We're getting ready to head into July, and I'm probably in the next video going to talk about July because July is going to be a very interesting month on a few different levels. We are actually going to get like a slight break. June, it seemed like we lived through 6 months in 1 month, right? July, the second half, is going to be a little interesting, as well as the July 4th, right around there. So probably I'm going to come on really soon after this video and give everybody a little heads up about that. Um, I hate feeling rushed, but um, my husband is going to do the lawn today, this morning. Never does it on a weekend. And I'm trying not to be mad at him, but there's a reason why he needs to do it today, so we'll just kind of forgive him. Hopefully, we won't hear it too much because I do have the air on and the windows closed. So if you do hear it, it's him. Just send him like some really bad vibes to make him stop. But don't tell him I said that. But anyway, all right. So, okay, the wedding. So a couple of you let me know. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That prediction about the wedding actually came out in the most unexpected way. So the wedding actually, we're talking about the Bezos wedding. Jeff Bezos. It had to be cut short because a monster storm came through, and the waiters. Remember, I kept saying I just see the waiters, something with the waiters. A ton of these waiters had to scramble to get umbrellas up around these people and get them to the water taxis, because there's no cars there, but it was in Venice, so it's all the water taxis and stuff like that, and it was just an absolute mess. So thanks for several of you who let me know about that. That's some drama, isn't it? Can you imagine the millions of dollars of dresses that were ruined in that? And I'm certainly not even gloating or gleefully happy over that, but I just think it's interesting that sometimes stuff just comes in a way that's so unexpected, doesn't it? And that was certainly one of them. Um, but they are married now, so I do wish them happy nuptials, happy marriage, and I hope that they can do some good with their combined monies, and be led more by, we'll just say, divinity. Hopefully, they're led more by divinity than by greed or the shallow stuff. The looking good, the this and that. Who knows? I know a couple of you are saying, huh, not hardly. But you never know. You never know. Okay. John Thune. I've been telling you guys about him forever. Just watch out for him. He's very, very, very conservative. I disagree with probably everything he even believes in. But I did see him doing something in a good way. And I couldn't shake it. I just couldn't shake it, even despite my disbelief, right? So, what he did, um, which was, and I told you he was going to be firm about it. What he did, so the Senate parliamentarian is the one that reviews all the bills that come to the Senate, goes through it for the legality of it, to see if certain provisions can work, if can they not work, and basically like runs a fine tooth comb through uh, these bills that come through there. And this Senate parliamentarian happens to be a woman. She was appointed way back in 2012. She has a nonpartisan role. She serves at the discretion of the Senate Majority Leader, okay, who right now is Thune, okay. She found tons of stuff in the bill that were just either illegal, that wouldn't work, etc. So she stripped them out of the bill, okay. And it was a lot of stuff that Republicans wanted, okay. So remember I said it's up to him if she stays or not. He can fire her like today and replace her with someone else. There was calls from Republicans, get rid of her, blah blah blah. He stood firm and said, "Nope, she stays, and we'll just have to work around um, the cuts that she made." So he's still not a good guy as far as I'm concerned, as far as for this country per se. However, to be honest with you, he is not 100% MAGA either. That's that's the reality. He's not 100% MAGA. He has come out and criticized Trump, and he is not one of those Mike Johnson lapdogs that just fawns all over anything that Trump does. No. He's a tad bit more independent. Like I said, he goes against everything that I believe and stand for. However, he's not 100% MAGA. And he stood firm on this firing of the Senate parliamentarian. So, those cuts that she made, and they were extensive. She made several cuts to these bills, to this bill, this big ugly bill. And I wish they would stop calling it the big beautiful bill, because there's nothing really beautiful about it. It's just psychological warfare, okay, that Republicans always engage in. But she made those cuts to the big ugly bill, and those, they cannot be included, okay. I didn't really list all of them because there were so many. I did start writing them down, guys, and then it was like, oh no, I'm not, I don't know. So you can go look up. If you Google Senate parliamentarian cuts to the big, beautiful bill 2025, you can see all the cuts that she made out of there. Um, and another thing is, in line with the prediction I made about this big ugly bill, it's going to go through several iterations. It's going to be sliced and diced, which it has been. It is being. It'll be interrupted. It is interrupted because Chuck Schumer has forced a full reading on the bill. So that's going to take about 15 hours, they estimate, right? And so that's going to go through all today. And then they will probably vote on it tomorrow. Tillis, Susan Collins, Rand Paul, Ron Johnson, and Murkowski, I believe, they are like not feeling it. These are all Republicans, and they're just not feeling a lot of the stuff in the bill. I still think that there will be some more movement on this bill as far as moving stuff out, taking more and more stuff out, changing, tweaking. For some reason, and I don't know why, I get the 15th, July the 15th. They're giving me that date. I'm not sure if it's about the bill per se or whatever, but it could be. We could keep seeing sort of like a extension on this bill. I'm not sure. I have to fine tune that. Don't hold me to that just yet. Don't hold me to that. I don't know if they're giving me the July 15th date as one of those dates that we need to look out for, as you know they do, or whether that's associated with the bill. So just hang on for a moment on that. But um, here's a thought. I don't know, because I'm like nowhere near as smart as these guys, and I certainly don't have the political, governmental background. So, but I got a thought. How about we go ahead and just up the tax rate on the rich and boom, there's like billions of dollars we could get. And then we don't have to really cut the other stuff so much. But I know I probably sound kind of goofy and dumb, right? What do I know? What do I know? Seriously though, I really wish, and we're getting to that point. We are getting to that point, believe it or not, where the Republicans will join most of the Democrats. It will be a much more society priority government. We are getting to that point, people. Believe it or not. I know it doesn't seem that way right this moment, but it's coming. A lot of what you're seeing now, it will be a memory for most of us, and it will be in our lifetime. It really will be. Um, but we've got to go through the growing pains to get there. I'm 5'1". Okay, I'm like 5 point, not quite one. All right, but we'll just say I'm 5'1". And my son's father is like 6'2". And so when he was born, I remember saying, "Oh God, I hope he's not short," because my family tends to run on the sort of shorter side. And so I was thinking, "Oh gosh, I hope he, takes after like his dad." And so I remember when my son was about 13, maybe 14, he's squirming on the floor, and I'm like, "What is wrong with you?" He's like, ah, ah. What the? And come to find out, rushed him to the doctors. Nothing was wrong with him. He was literally having growing pains. And that's the first time I realized that people actually suffered from them. I obviously didn't really go through that much because, you know. But anyway, and shortly after that, he shot up. He's 6'1" now, I believe. Um, Although I can still, reach up, right? Remember that, son. Okay? But so those pains, right, produce that tall guy that he is now. Okay? We are going through that, and believe me, things are going to be different. All this ugliness we're seeing now. And so many of you, especially you that are watching me, because I've got all the other ones, all the MAGA that kind of were following me a little bit, they're gone. I guess I chased them away. But you're going to be so proud of yourself. You really will be, that you had the principles and the integrity to stick with what was right. Okay? So, and like I said, we will be alive to see it. All right? And we won't be feeble-minded. Okay? Things are going to be different. Just Just let divine love unfold things the way it needs to unfold it. Remember, it's in charge, not us, not this administration, okay? Not Netanyahu, not Putin. Obviously not Putin because his 3 day war is going into 4 years. Uh, and Netanyahu just got his kicked. Um, and, psh, psh, back down, right? So, um, Divine Love puts her thing in there. Okay? She does. Just in ways that we can comprehend it. Remember that always. It's in ways that we can comprehend, grasp, and get. All right? Okay, so a judge ruled that Job Corps must be restored. So let's look out for the unfolding of how that's going to go. Okay, Job Corps plays such a vital role for the youth. To abolish it was just an act of cruelty, which is something, you guys say that the Trump administration has, no specialties. They specialize in cruelty. The crueler, the better. Okay. Um, let's see. A good bright spot. Representative Don Bacon of Nebraska. He's a Republican. He says that he will not seek re-election. In the district he's in, it is a very good chance that a Democrat could win that seat, okay, which would further help to tip the balance in Congress, okay? So, thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. Uh, the Senate Democrats removed the judicial provision that would have gutted judicial independence. So, in other words, the provision in the bill that would have said that basically that judges could not, how do I say this in a condensed, quick way, could not sort of rule against this administration, sort of. That was taken out by the Senate Democrats, okay? Some more good news. In Hungary, you know that it's a dictatorship there, right? Viktor Orban is the dictator dude. Um, Pride Day was coming up, and he said that it was illegal to have marches, for Pride, either day or month over there, whatever it was. Um, Go look at the tens of thousands of people who came out and protested. And he actually had a nerve to say that legal action would be taken against them. And even more showed up. I mean, talking about a sea of people, okay? They're sick of him and sick of his insanity. I wish you would Google it, though. Just do that for me, please. Look at the people that showed up to protest in Hungary against him. It's beautiful. It's just beautiful. I told you guys that Elon wouldn't be fully out the picture. We'd hear from him soon. He just came out yesterday or Friday on Twitter. I'm not on Twitter. I quit Twitter as soon as he started acting like, the deranged nutball that he is. But he came out Friday or either Saturday just completely against this big ugly bill. A whole paragraph about it. I don't know the exact words. I did read them, but I couldn't copy and paste them. Okay, so I couldn't write them down for us. But he's strongly opposed to it. He came out. Of course, his reasoning has nothing to do with us. Okay, it's strictly selfish reasons. Okay, like for one, they took out the EV credits, and his car is an electric vehicle. Okay, so and a few other things. But hey, the enemy of my enemy, and we will be hearing more from him. By the way, that's not it. I told you that he was going to be responsible for almost sort of um, holding us hostage in a way, okay, and holding the administration hostage in a way. That's still coming out. Uh, let's see. Did I? Oh, the restaurant in Phoenix, Arizona. It's a chain. It's a Mexican chain owned by actual Mexicans. Tortas Manantial. Manantial. Um, it was very popular, very successful restaurant serving, different types of Mexican food. Um, the owner's daughter decided to come out. He has a couple daughters, and she decided one of them decided to come out and do like a couple of videos with her, "Make America Great" hat on, and singing, doing the Trump dance, and all of that stuff. And it was so tone deaf, considering the fact that her people are the ones being deported in record numbers, right? Um, and fast forward, this was not too long ago. Fast forward, not even a month, the restaurant chain, people are boycotting it. No one's going, and it's like, I believe, in the second month, and they're getting ready to probably file for bankruptcy. And this restaurant chain has been there for 20 years. Okay? And they're not having it there in Arizona. They're not standing for it. And there's several videos of people outside sitting in their cars of one of the chains of restaurant around Phoenix, and no one's going in. It's empty. They're showing, they're standing outside showing the inside. It's completely empty. So hey, she picked her poison, and you know I for someone to go against their own people in such a manner, just because you are privileged, um, you should have worked towards trying to help your people and calling attention to what's going on with your people instead of celebrating what Don the Khan and his administration are doing. So I don't know. If anyone has a small violin, please send it to me. Okay, there are some things that I wanted to talk about, and it has to do with these guys. And by the way, yes, I did paint that a couple years ago. Um, every picture that you see, always behind me, are the ones that I've painted, okay? That I was inspired to paint for one reason or another, including this one, okay, which is a pyramid with light emanating from it, because that is what pyramids, they have energy force emanating from them, top and bottom and underneath, okay. Typically what you see with pyramids is not all that there is, okay. But I don't know whether to talk about the calls that people were getting in Michigan claiming that whoever was calling was from the Anunnaki, or whoever was texting them was from the Anunnaki or the Buga Ball. Several of you asked about that. Several. Um, so let's start with the Buga ball. Is it real? Yes. So the Buga ball is a metallic sphere about this size, okay, that was caught in Colombia. Now, it it was floating around, hovering for a while, and then it made a landing down on the ground, okay? And I'm going to tell you, it allowed itself to be captured, okay? This is in Colombia, the country Colombia. Excuse me. And there was a gentleman that took it and he brought it to a lab to be studied. And they did several tests on it. And eventually that ball had to be taken because the Russians tried to get the ball. There were people posing as police trying to break into the lab to get the ball. But the ball was eventually sent to Mexico, um, a museum in Mexico, and it's now in their vault, okay, as they run further tests on it. But here's the fascinating thing about this ball. It changes in density, okay? One day they'll weigh it and it's a certain weight, next day it's much lighter or heavier, etc. It it still emits a coldness to it. It's still very much dynamic, very much alive, so we say. I don't know how you would how you classify metallic objects that are still emitting certain frequencies, certain energies. Okay, I don't know what the scientific term for that is, but I'll just say, to me, it's alive. Okay, being the scientific dum dum that I am. Um, and they did an X-ray, several X-rays on it, and I believe they even did a sort of like a CAT scan type of thing or a MRI type of thing on it, and saw that it had three major levels inside, um, workable type of levels in it, and the sphere has symbols on it, okay, which they put through AI, and it did generate a message. Um, okay, so people have mentioned, please talk about this. Is it real? Yes, it is. First of all, there are, when I was out in space during my near death experience, right? Which I talk about in the first book. I saw many different things. I saw ships, I saw objects, I even saw the cube, okay, and I talk about what the cube was for. But there were different type of objects. Now, I did see larger spheres that looked almost exactly like that, but just larger. Okay, they are intelligence guided. Okay, and they are typically um, controlled remotely from another source. Okay, and I have no doubt that this sphere, the Buga sphere, is what they're called because it landed in Buga, Colombia, um, was also remotely guided, okay, and it was allowed to land. Let me explain something to you. The aliens, the ET that are here, okay, they don't get captured, okay, unless they allow it to happen. Their mechanisms, their ships, their whatever, don't get captured or found by us unless they allow it. So they allowed this sphere to be sort of, shall we say, captured, okay, and to be studied, okay. So I would say it's sort of like a present for us, a gift, shall we say, okay. Um, and it's one way of them making contact, okay. Now, so far, after all this information came out, and remember, it landed just this year, April the 12th, I believe. It just landed. So, and there was still a whole bunch of information that was received from it. But already, but already now they're trying to say, well, no, it's not real, it's man made. That's BS. And anyone that kind of looks into it knows that it's BS. Okay? Um, and I just happened to, once I saw it, I just knew that it was the real thing. Okay, and it's one of the real things. It's one of the many remote um, little vessels that ETs use. Okay, now let's talk also about these texts. There were some texts that some people received on a military base in Michigan. And then a few weeks later, a few days later, an entire town also received messages from something claiming they were Anunnaki. Okay. Um, and just giving out information. Okay. Those, only one of them, I believe, I was told one of those contacts were real, another one wasn't. Okay? So, for those asking about those, one of those contacts were legit, and one of them wasn't. Okay? But it was claimed that there was a 2 minute broadcast on phones in the town, in this town of Michigan, and then also on the military base. I believe the ones on the military base were the ones that were legit. Okay, the ones in the town, I don't believe the people were lying. I believe it was just someone maybe kind of having a good time. Okay, but more and more of that's going to come out. We are going to have more direct contact, and it's going to come in a very surprising way. And if you guys remember, I've since last summer, I've been saying by this summer, it's going to happen, and it is. It's going to happen, and it's already happening. So, do you guys remember about a week and a half ago, there were some serious storms throughout this country, and especially on the East Coast? I can verify it. We had a storm one Thursday a week ago. New York had the same storm. But anyway, this storm was so horrifically bad, I literally thought we had been invaded, because it was around the time of the Israel Iran conflict stuff, major conflict. I seriously thought we had been invaded. That's how bad it was. People were, you could see them peeking out their houses trying to figure out what the heck was going on. And then people in several states, but especially New York, said, "Ugh, we had a storm here and that wasn't no thunder." Okay, so there is this thing going around, not only TikTok, but on YouTube, with people stating that the ETs are like having a war in the sky. Okay? I'm going to offer a counter to that. Okay? Not necessarily a war. Some of what you are hearing with these strange noises, these strange booms, these strange different sounds that you're hearing, okay? Not necessarily fighting going on, but what was shown to me was there are certain ships that are coming into our atmosphere, okay? And that are doing things close enough to our atmosphere with the ships that are causing these noises. Okay? And yes, it can sound like war, it can sound like fighting, um, but it's actually these ships. I've told you guys the ships are here. The motherships do not come close to Earth. Their energies would destroy the Earth if they came too close. The mothership, don't listen to anyone that says the motherships are here. No, they're not. Some of these ships are larger than Earth. I've seen a few in specifically. They're humongous. They can't come close to our atmosphere, into our atmosphere, but I've told you guys they sent out these large scout ships. And that is what a lot of us are hearing. It's these scout ships. They are huge, but they're not motherships. The motherships. Okay? They are here. They're interacting with Earth. They're monitoring. They're close. Okay? And they're doing certain things. And our atmosphere is reacting to them. Okay? So when you hear these strange noises, just know that, yeah, there's a big scout ship nearby. And there's several. I believe it was 2 main ET videos, late December, January. They're in on this channel, and if you want to go back and look and listen to them, you should. But I talked a lot about all this back then, okay? But more so, these are our atmosphere reacting to these scout ships being here. Okay? Now, there are cases where Earth does get visitors. We get out of solar system visitors at times. Okay? And there are ETs, like I've told you, and that a lot of you know and believe, that do protect Earth, that are watchers over Earth. And, you know, occasionally they will help escort some of these visitors out of here. They will monitor them, they will kind of warn them, etc. Occasionally, you know, a couple baddies, they will have to super gently escort them out of here. But you're not really seeing really alien warfare like you think. It is these huge ships that are interacting with our atmosphere. Okay? And because some of these ships now they're three-dimensional, but some of these are interdimensional. Okay? And so they're reacting to our dimension when they phase in and phase out. Okay? And so You're going to get noises. You're going to get certain phenomena that we see in the sky. You're going to get all of that. Okay, as a result of these ships. So, yeah. So I wanted to cover that today because many of you sent emails or even inquired on the channel, and it's obviously something that, concerns a lot of people. And, the funniest thing to me is when people say, oh my goodness, are we going to be okay? Or, because you're hearing these sounds in the sky and stuff. Believe me, these ET have been here, okay? Been here. If they wanted to hurt us or harm us, we'd already be gone. All right? They have the capability to do that. They have the wherewithal to do that. So if that was the case, we would have been gone. Okay? Now, one last thing I wanted to speak about was... Hello, Miss Venia. I was wondering, I know you know of the 4 a.m. club creators because they tried to lump you in with them at one point. How do you feel about Fox News reporting on the 4 a.m. club? Usually guilty people tell on themselves. Is that what they are doing? So yes, the 4 a.m. club, I believe it was started by, I'm not going to even say specifically who, because I don't want to put their name out there like that. But it's a bunch of creators that posted the very next day after the election on November the 6th about how they were woken up at a certain time. I was one of them. I got up at, it was like 3:30. And I put out a video the next day. But anyway, bunch of us put out videos about how, we were woken up. It just didn't feel right. It just didn't seem right. And on and on and on. Excuse me, my videos are still up. But anyway, and then, a bunch of them gathered together and, have been speaking ever since, together, alone, etc. These are good women, good people that are trying to put out information, healing, help, etc. Okay? I don't know the full story about Fox reporting on them. I don't ever watch Fox ever. So I can't really speak on, their reporting of the 4 a.m. club. Although I did wake up at that time and have been, although I was on YouTube long before the election, but I have been a part of, speaking about the election and etc., as you all know. But I have not been involved with the creators of the 4 a.m. club, and simply because I basically am guided to work alone, to, speak more so with my message and alone to do it. And so I don't, I have zero against any of them. I think they're wonderful women. I have met some of them. They're each of them has a uniqueness about them, putting out whatever information. And I don't know if Fox came from a negative or positive standpoint about them. I don't even care. Just follow your gut and your instinct if you're following these ladies. Don't go by what Fox says. Follow your instinct. If you're guided to continue following them, follow them. Okay. Um, a lot of them are putting out some good, helpful, healing information. Um, go by your instinct. Same with go by your instinct with me. If it doesn't resonate, drop it. But if it does, continue on that vein. To heck with Fox. And I just hope that, no one is coming after them or, whatever. Um, just go by your own feelings and to heck with Fox. All right. Um, One more thing I wanted to address was, you know, a lot of people have made comments. Vina, you've helped me so much, and this and that, and this and that, and that's wonderful, and I thank you for that. But you need to thank yourself for even being guided to being open to listen to something, okay, that has expanded your awareness. Okay, we're all in this together. Literally, all of us in this together, right? So I appreciate all the love because you guys, I'm telling you guys, you love buckets. I'm going to buy a bucket one day and just sit it in the background so you guys can know that, you're just full of that. You seriously buckets. But you need to realize that you have guided yourself on another level, okay, to receive certain information and to process it a certain way, right? And so I told you, I think it was 2 videos ago, pat yourself on the back, okay? Because no matter what you hear from me, okay, through them, okay, you still have to process things, have to live it, have to work through it, okay? You're the ones that have to do the work, just like I have to do the work for myself and my life, right? So that same thanks that an appreciation that you're giving me, absorb it into yourself and appreciate yourself for the love and the attention that you're showing yourself to grow and to become aware. Absorb that for you and allow it to even open you up even more. And I am in no way minimalizing your loving, beautiful comments to me at all. They literally fortify me and keep me going. They really do. I absorb them. I really do. But absorb that for yourself and realize that on some level you are guiding and helping yourself to grow, okay, and to reverberate towards that energy that you need to propel yourself to an even wider understanding. So I guess I want to say, let's have a mutual appreciation party. There we go. A mutual appreciation. You appreciate me and I appreciate that back. But you appreciate yourself for trying. Absorb it back into you. Okay? and allow it to fill some of those holes inside of you, fill the voids in there. Okay? All right, guys. So that's it for today. He just started the lawnmower, so it's perfect timing. So you don't have to send him no like uh, virtual knives or anything. We don't have to do that now. All right. But take care. Love to you all. May you see the love that is there. Okay. May you see the love that is always there. May your eyes be peeled back just a bit to see it. And like I said, I will be back really soon because there's some stuff I want to talk about July, the 4th, 5th, that type of time period. All right. So I'll be back really soon. Love to you guys. And just imagine that bucket right behind me. All right. Take care.